Excuse my face, I've been crying. It's been a tough week. I got hit with a fun little statty stat in my personal life today, and if there are any other 35-year-olds, millennials really generally, or, maybe even Gen Z, who are getting some stats about how much money they have or have not saved in their life, this one's for you. The average 35-year-old has saved 1 to 1.5 times their annual salary. Kirsten, why are you getting emailed this stat? Well, I was asking a family member to borrow some money because, for those of you who don't know, I'm a consultant. I have my own small business, and that's my dog in the background. I have not saved 1 to 1.5 times my annual income, and because I just moved, I haven't saved anything. I've spent all of my savings, and sometimes when you're a consultant, a lot of things about it are super great, but cash flow can be challenging because things just come in at different times because of contracts, and so I literally have no cash right now, which is really stressful to me. And so until my next few contracts come in as paid, they're like signed, not paid, I wanted to borrow some money. That was the stat I got hit with. I'm not getting the money, but that's fine. Learning opportunity though, right? Because I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting stat. Also, like, I don't know, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked that I've saved less than other 35-year-olds because I stayed in school till I was 28, then I started my own business. Like, I don't have a lot of things like stacking in my favor for savings. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I do like to spend money. So like, I'm not surprised I've saved less. But I was genuinely like, wow, an average 35-year-old has saved 1 to 1.5 times their income? No, they haven't. So don't let anyone tell you that that's true. Let's Now, it is easy to see where this stat comes from, because if you look up how much you should be saving or how much the average 35-year-old should have saved, it is 1 to 1.5 times their salary. That's a stat that I got quoted. Keyword should. Should is not reality. Should is not actual. Should is you should have saved that much. So where does that number come from? That was a Yahoo Finance article. They talk about Charles Schwab. They talk about T. Rowe Price. I don't know what T. Rowe Price is. But like the finance peeps, I suppose, are saying this is how much you should have saved. But it's not just as simple as 1 to 1.5 times your salary, right? Because the stat actually goes deeper, which I think is important. Other important context to consider here. So 1 to 1.5 times your salary if you're making $125,000 a year and need $1.7 million to retire. So like something that's interesting to me about these rules of thumb is like, I would think it'd be hard to publish a like non-interactive article about this, because if I were to decide how much I wanted to save for retirement, I would want to put in like, yes, like how much I make per year, but also like how many years I anticipate working, right? So like the age I want to retire, the amount I feel comfortable retiring with, and how much I make would all go into this. So like this just generic rule, 1 to 1.5 times your salary should have been saved by today, seems kind of like BS, honestly. Like when I first got out of school, I was a yoga teacher for a while and I was making like $700 a month. So if I, at the end of the year, had only saved 1 to 1.5 times my salary, I don't think I would be on track for any type of retirement. So, just context matters. Context matters, as usual. This did have me wondering, hey, how much has the average 35-year-old saved? And what do you know? Vanguard has done a study on this. How America Saves 2023. Where did this data come from, Vanguard? Well, they do have a methodology section. Woo woo. So exciting. It's a little vague. If someone actually knows more details about this, would love them because I'm curious. But basically, the methodology section says that their sample, the number of people who they used to calculate the information I'm about to share, included 1,700 qualified plans, I don't know what that means, 1,400 clients, and nearly 5 million participants that Vanguard directly provides record-keeping services for. So basically, like my layperson's take on that is like people who use Vanguard. I couldn't even tell you what Vanguard is, which like maybe that's why I don't have 1 to 1.5 times my savings saved. But people who use Vanguard could be a bias sample, maybe. I don't know, because it's only people who use them. I don't know, but just food for thought. But to the data, average retirement savings for age 35. It's not just 35 though. It's 35 to 44 because they've bucketed the ages, and it's 76,354. Now looking at that, again, as someone who has $0 saved for retirement, I'm thinking like, gosh, if I were only 1 year younger, then the average retirement is only $30,017. That's like a $46,000 difference in just that one little year. Which side of the bucket do I fall on? If you are going to put the expectation of the average on me, then, you know, I want to be in the lower bucket, right? Or I want to be in the bucket just for my age, just for my 1 year of age. So just some food for thought, right? Like if I were reporting this, I would rather see it year by year. It's hard to report some data in big buckets like this because you could imagine like, oh, well, a 35-year-old, maybe, we don't know what's true, right? Everyone's different, but like could have been working for less years, like could have been making less money. So like, of course, they're on the lower end of that. Don't hold me up to the average. It also includes all these people who are older than me and have been working longer and making more money. You see what I mean? I don't like the big buckets in this case. Vanguard did do something interesting that I really appreciate, is that they didn't just report the average, they also reported the median, which as you can note is substantially lower than the average. So the average was like over 70,000. The median is 28,000. So the median is like another way of looking at like on average, colloquially, but it's basically like an average can be pulled up by people who have a ton of savings, and a median, because you're like literally kind of like counting to the middle of the pack, is less likely to be pulled up by a larger income. So love that they reported it both ways. In this case though, imagine like if I was just 1 year younger and you wanted to quote this to me, I only would have been expected to save $11,000, right? $11,000 instead of 1 to 1.5 times my income. Kirsten, why are you making a 7-minute long video on this? Maybe you're just processing your feelings because you felt like personally, emotionally attacked by that message, which I did, and but you know, I did. Maybe that's why. But also, people use statistics as, I'm trying to like think, like people weaponize them, like they use them as a tool to make people feel bad or to get their way or to like really strongly make a point. And they're not always correct and they're not always getting used correctly. So in this case, if you are 35 years old and you haven't made 1 to 1.5 times your income, look, the average 35-year-old, heck, they haven't, unless their average income is you know, under $25,000 a year, and they've been able to somehow manage to save money living off of only $25,000 a year. Like, it's not true. This is a classic case of someone looking at a should. And again, if you remember from earlier, the should is actually based on a lot of like more nuanced data points and using it as like an actuality, which it's not. So if someone is trying to make a point with you with a statistic, you don't have to take it at face value. You can look it up, you can challenge it, and you could make a TikTok video about it if you wanted to, because it'd be cool if more people shared stuff like that. And also, like, I'm fine. Everything's fine, you know? Sometimes you need help, you ask for it, sometimes you don't get it, and like, that's fine, because like at the end of the day, I'm responsible for myself, my choices, things like that, but I will not be shamed over a fake stat. And lastly, like, I know I'm like sitting with this and feeling bad about where I am in my life because of a stat that is actually fake, so that's just like super annoying. Or even just the fact, you know, like, yeah, I'm not married with kids, I'm not providing for family, I don't own a house. Yeah, I get it. But like, let's all try to not feel bad about that stuff, because we have different journeys in life, and like, it's okay. Everything's fine.